Chuck, so nice to meet you. Robert has told me so much about you.
Same, nice to meet you as well. Robert told me that you are really good about helping
I
me
hope
find
we
a
were,
home.
and I'm hoping we can do the same for you. Robert says you're moving here from another part of the country.
That's correct. I'm from Los Angeles, California.
Have you had an opportunity yet to check the Washington area out much for houses?
Yes, I was driving around Maryland area and I was searching for different kinds of houses. I've been doing that for about 2 weeks now. And I think I like Maryland. And it's close to my work, so the commuting would be easy.
Oh, okay. Well, where is your work located?
Northwest DC.
All right, and will you be using the metro as a regular form of transportation?
Yes, I will be using the metro every day, but there will be occasions where I will drive my own vehicle.
Okay, does your company provide parking arrangements for you?
Yes, they do. They do have parking there.
All right. Have you had an opportunity to look in the district, or are you really narrowed down to living in Maryland?
Well, I'm not really sure. I really like Maryland, but I can look in DC as well. But I'm not really into living in the city.
Not in the city? How about Virginia? Have you considered Virginia?
Well, my friend told me that if I live in Virginia, the traffic is always backed up in the morning and in the evening. So I'm not sure about that.
Yeah, he's right. If you are driving a lot, then I would suggest living in Maryland because there's so many more routes getting into district from Maryland. Now, so for right now, let's just eliminate Virginia.
Well, don't eliminate it, Virginia, completely because, if I can't find anything in Maryland or DC, then, I might possibly look there in Virginia, but I want to look in Maryland for sure first.
Okay, that's your first choice. So, as far as here, I think I need to get some personal information. First of all, how many people will be living with you in this home?
Just me.
Okay, that's just yourself then.
Well, I have a dog as well.
You have a dog? Is it a large dog?
It's a big dog.
What kind of dog is it?
It's a German Shepherd.
Okay, that goes together, I guess. Well, now as far as your living accommodations prior to this, have you lived in an apartment, condominium, a townhouse? What did you live in before you came here?
You mean in California? I lived in a house in California. But I rented. That house had a lot of problems. I enjoyed it, but I always had to constantly repair it. And so with this home that I'm getting, I don't want to have to constantly be fixing it and making repairs.
Okay, so you want something you can move into and enjoy right away.
Exactly.
Okay. Now, what type of hobbies do you have? Do you have any special needs, say, for extra space? Maybe you're a photographer, you need some developing, a developing room, or something like that?
Yeah, I do actually have a hobby. I do pottery, clay pottery. And I have equipment for the clay. For example, I have a machine that spins the clay and helps make the bases. It's a pretty large thing, so I need a big table to be able to place that. So that's the kind of equipment that I have.
Okay, now, is that something you could do in a basement?
Well, I don't really want a dark place to do my pottery.
Well, now I have seen some properties where they have walkout basements. Now there you have sliding glass doors, a couple windows. Would that be suitable?
Well, if there's windows or doors, that would be something that I could look into.
Okay. Well, I need to move on to some personal questions regarding financing. Lenders around here want to know everything about you. So, first of all, what type of monthly payment do you think you're going to feel comfortable paying?
Mm, my house in California, it was very expensive. So that's why I'm moving here. I want it to be in the range of $200 to $400 a month.
Okay, now I'm assuming that's going to include your principal, interest, taxes, and insurance. Now, beyond that, you might have something, if you move into a townhouse, you might have something what they call an HOA. Okay, now, did I tell you about the HOA? That's the Homeowners Association.
Wait, what's the HOA?
As I was saying, it's the Homeowners Association fee. It's a charge by the owners of the townhouse to maintain the community property, swimming pools, parking lots, that kind of thing.
Is that expensive?
As far as I'm aware, it's not more than about $35, $50 a month, say.
Oh, so you mean that fee, is it a steady fee or does it increase every year?
Now, the properties that I'm aware of, they do increase maybe a dollar or two a year, but then again, it's not every year either.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
I think it's a good idea to become active in the association. That way you get an opportunity to meet your neighbors, have a say in what the community looks like.
There are rules?
Mm, as far as I'm aware, some of them do have restrictions. In fact, in Montgomery County, I think they have more than in others, particularly Montgomery Village.
Oh, I've heard about Montgomery Village. I don't mind. I would like to stay in that area. That's a good area.
Yeah, that's right. They like to know that people aren't going to paint their houses strange colors or leave campers parked out in front of the lawn. They like to know that the neighborhood's going to look a particular way.
So, do people know that there's rules? Are they aware when they move into that neighborhood?
Yes, they are because they're involved in making the rules. It really does make the properties look like nice. Is this something you might want to take a look at?
Hmm. Yeah.
Okay, great. Now, I need to ask you some more financial questions. First, what is your gross annual income?
43,000. Plus, I also receive. So I get about 50,000 a month. 50,000 a year.
Okay, I see. Now, have you been with this agency for some time now? Is this a new field for you, a new career field?
It's been the same job for quite some time. I've been with the same company. I worked there in California for quite some time, and it's under a business in DC.
Hmm. And how many years have you been with them?
59 years.
9 years, that's
9 years.
great. Lenders really like to see longevity in your employment. Now, as far as the overtime, is this something you're going to continue to do once you move out here?
Well, so far I've always had overtime. I always get more overtime.
Okay, and that is something your boss can verify.
Say that again?
Now, this is something your boss can verify for you? The overtime? Okay, great.
Yeah,
Well, that's
sure.
a really good income. I don't think we're going to have any problems finding you a suitable property. Now, in terms of long-term debt, do you have any personal loans, car payments, anything outstanding that I need to know about?
I have a credit card.
Okay. Now, do you have any car loans on top of that? Or you own your car outright, or do you have a car loan? Okay, now,
I pay a car payment and a few other bills.
okay. Now, if we were to find you a property in the next 2 or 3 weeks, do you think you could pay the car loan off?
If you want me to, I could.
Okay, that's great. Well, we need to look at a few more things now. What is the time frame for purchasing a home? If we find something in the next couple weeks, are you ready to put down an offer?
Well, it depends on the house and how much the value of it is. If it's good value and it's a good offer, I can move in right away.
Mm-hmm, that's right. Well, there's really two ways we can go here. One is to go with a conventional loan, and that'll take about 3 to 4 weeks to process. The other is if we go with a government loan. Now, that's an FHA or a VA. That takes a little bit longer, more like 45 to 60 days.
Oh, so if I move, so I could find a house anywhere, so it could be 3 weeks to 60 days to find something?
That's right, after we find it. Now, besides the car payment, you mentioned a credit card debt. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah. I have a credit card, and, well, it's a credit card. I have one that also has a big balance, a big payment.
Oh, how much is the balance on that one?
$1,800, but I have a $4,000 limit. But usually I pay $60 to $70 every month to pay it off.
Okay, well, unfortunately, they are going to count that as a debt against you and qualifying you for a loan.
Oh. So do you want me to pay it off? I could do that.
Well, that would probably help, but again, we need to look at the whole picture. Now, how much do you think you can pay in terms of an initial down payment? How much did you want to invest?
You mean deposit? How much do I want to invest? Maybe $3,000, $4,000 maybe?
Okay, now let me go in and give you a brief idea of what the costs are involved in purchasing a home in Montgomery County. Now, it happens to be about the same if you go and purchase in Virginia or D.C., and this is really a lot of information, so I will go slow so that we get all the figures down. When we're done meeting, I could give you the figures. I could just print it out on my computer and let you take it with you. But generally speaking, your total costs will come to about 7% of your total purchase price. Now, that includes 1%, which is a transfer tax, and that goes to the county. Okay, and 0.5%, which goes to the state of Maryland, and that pays for all your free parkland and everything that surrounds it. It basically maintains it. And there's $4.40 per thousand, which is charged as an additional transfer tax. They call it state stamps. Okay, so really, we're talking about all three of these items coming up to 2% of your purchase price. Now, there's also going to be an appraisal fee. That's $125, a credit check. Now, this is a lot of information. Do you have any questions?
Yeah, I do have questions. What is that appraisal for? What is that?
A lot of people ask about that. Now, the appraisal fee is charged by the lender. Say, for instance, he's going to loan you 80% or even 90% of the value of the home. They want to make sure that their investment is protected in case of default. So they send an appraiser out. They take a look at the property. They compare it to other homes in the community to make sure that you're getting a fair price for your home.
How much is that fee again?
Okay, now the appraisal fee comes to $125 or $150 thereabouts. Now there will be a credit check. That's $25. And also I need to mention here that there's something called a loan origination fee. Now with that, they charge you 1% of the amount of the loan. So say, for instance, the lender loans you $100,000. They're going to ask for $1,000 up front.
Why?
Well, it's really just interest. Now, there's also something called loan discount points.
So I know about those points, but it depends on the market, correct? You know, if the market gets better, then it can increase, or it just depends on the interest. It could be lowered, and then if they can negotiate the points, right? Or can you not negotiate?
You're right. In most cases, you can negotiate it. Now, in a tight market like we have today, they're going to charge you more points because they want to have more interest up front. They don't really care who pays this. It can be either the buyer or the seller.
So
That's right. Now, you can request that the seller at least share them with you, but if you're going to make a low offer, then I'd suggest you pay all the points. Now, since you're transferring, your company might be interested in helping you out with the closing costs.
Oh, I will have to check it and work.
I would check because most companies do pay at least some of the closing costs, and I would let them know that it is customary in the case of a transfer that they help you out.
So they'll pay everything, all the fees?
Not all companies, and the thing is, they are very high. Now, one of the reasons that they're so high is that you're paying a year's taxes plus a minimum of 2 months property taxes up front. Now, this is something you're going to recoup when you sell it.
So I have to. So what money do I have to pay?
Well, the account, this is going to go in an escrow account. The lender puts it in escrow so that when the tax bill comes due, they have the money to pay it. Now, let me summarize once again. When you're purchasing the home, the total purchase price, I'm going to give you 7%, and that's the highest it's going to be. Now, that 7% is going to include the loan discount points and the loan origination fee. Now, if I can get you a property for just the loan origination fee, then we're already doing good. We're saving you a point.
Okay, I understand.
Well, we save you a point by negotiating. Now, like I said, the 7% is on the high side, and that really is a conservative figure, and I like to do it that way because I'd rather have that your expenses are a little bit less than a little bit more.
So I could negotiate then.
Oh, you mean you're referring to the back to the loan origination? Yes, you can negotiate that, and I think we won't have any problem doing that. Now, like I said, the 7% is really coming in on the high side. Now, I would rather that your expenses end up being a little bit less than a little bit more.
Oh, okay, that's good.
Yeah, I mean, if it goes the other way, you're just going to be disappointed. Now, do be sure and check with your company about the closing costs. As I said, they might have a policy that you're just not aware of.
I will check with work. Do other companies typically pay the full moving costs?
That's right. Most of them will either pick up the loan origination fee or an amount equal to that. Many of them do pay the transfer taxes and the attorney's fees.
Oh, wow.
Okay, now let's go back to the original question about how much of a cash investment you want to make. Can you talk about that?
I think it's best to put down about $3,000. That includes to include the closing costs in that as well.
Okay, it does include your closing costs. Now, let me think. Let's see. If interest rates are at 9, and to be on the safe side, I better say 10.5%. Oh, did I tell you about assumable mortgages?
No. What about the annual percentage rate? Someone told me, my friend, that when you buy it, Robert said that it will be reduced. Is that possible? Like with the broker?
A lot of people ask me about it, and it is possible to get them. However, it really does limit the number of properties that are available to you right now. I do check them daily for a number of investors, and like I said, it limits the number of amenities you can get, but I will keep my eyes open, and I'll do the best I can do.
Okay, that's fine.
Okay, now, earlier you mentioned about a house that you saw. I think it was out on River Road.
Yeah, I was driving on River Road, and right before I saw a house right there on the right, and I really liked it.
Now, was that near the school?
It was a little bit curved to the right. There was a house right there. All the houses seemed to look the same, but this one was different compared to all the other ones, and I really liked it.
I know the neighborhood. It is really beautiful. It's an old, established neighborhood. It's very expensive. I'd say anywhere between $200,000 and $300,000 a house. But I'll keep my eyes open for something like that.
I really loved that house. Kind I felt like home already.
Okay, well that's really important, and I'll really watch out for something like that. Now let's get back to the financing. Let's say I think we can get you between $140,000 and $150,000. Now, when I'm talking about that, if you get the 90% loan, you have to pay 10% down, and if you get an 80% loan, you're paying 20% down. But the 90% down loan, it's really a disadvantage.
I see.
It's a disadvantage because with a 10% down, you have what they call a private mortgage insurance.
What? I thought that we were talking that out. Private mortgage.
No, unfortunately, it hasn't been done away with altogether. It's really there to protect the investor against default. Now, they want to make sure that they're going to get a fee until you've paid down the 20%.
So they have to protect themselves?
That's right. Now, after you've been in your home for a couple of years and the house appreciates, and you can request that the lender drop this fee.
Okay.
And usually, it used to be that until you've invested the 20%, they would charge this fee, but they really can't do that anymore.
What was the policy before then?
Well, like I just said, it used to be that until you'd pay the whole thing, until you paid up to the 20%, they were going to charge that fee, but it has gone to court. Now, let's go again here over the $150,000. Let's say you buy a house for $150,000. That's $15,000 down with the 90% loan, and $10,000 in closing costs. That brings you nicely into that $25,000, $30,000 range.
So is closing costs expensive?
Closing costs are high, and I can give you some of those figures when you go home. But like I said, with this down payment, with the $25,000 to $30,000 down, I think your needs are quite modest.
I don't understand
that. Okay, well, let me go over it one more time. If we find you a home for $150,000, then with a 90% loan, we're going to have to put $15,000 down and another $10,000 down in closing costs. That brings you right into your $25,000, $30,000 initial investment.
So I have to put money down? $3,000?
Right. That's the original cash investment that you had wanted to make. I think we're going to be able to find you lots of properties right in there. Okay, now, are you going to be coming back here from LA next weekend?
Yeah. I'm going to fly back to California, and then I will come here next week on Friday. And, we can look at houses and stuff at that time.
Okay, well, when is your start date for work?
So first I actually have to move into my home, and then I will let them know the exact date that I'm going to be moving. I have no pressure on me from my company to actually move. It's on the date that I prefer.
Oh, well, that makes a big difference. Now, since you're making a special trip out next weekend, I'll set both days aside, And I think maybe Saturday we'll just drive around some of the neighborhoods that I think you're going to like. And I'd like you to take notes during this so we get a clear picture of what you want. And then Sunday we'll actually go into some of the homes in the neighborhoods that you like.
I could also follow you in my car too. I follow your lead. That's what I'm gonna do.
Okay. Now, this could actually happen as soon as next weekend, and I have plenty of loan officers in this town who would be more than happy to accommodate you. All you need to bring with you is the loan application, and they'll process it right then and there.
That's fine. I have tons of papers I need to fill out. So you only gave me one for the loan application, so I can fill it out before or after we find a house.
Okay, great. I do have a list. It's a couple pages long. It spells out everything you're going to need in terms of financial data, and we'll just bring it with us to the loan office, and they'll process it as quickly as possible.
Okay, that's fine. Thank you. I'm going to fly back to California, and I will call you next week on Friday just to let you know that I'm here.
Okay, great. What I'll do is if you have a few minutes, I'll run it off on the computer when we're done, and I'm very glad to have met you, and I hope we're going to be able to help you out. Nice to meet you.